Sports Bucks with Steve. This is the wealth coach, the retirement wealth coach, Steve Crawford. Certified financial fiduciary, Amazon best-selling author, co-author of The Success Formula with Jack Canfield. Listen, Hall of Fame youth football coach at Pembroke Pines Optimus PPO, you know. Features some of the greats of football that's playing today, Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, the great John Beeson, and so many others come out of that fraternity, so to speak. But we want to talk about it right today. This is Sports Bucks with Steve. Thank you all for listening in. A lot to cover in a short time to get there. We want to talk about Rod. Aaron Rodgers says Jets. Jets. Morant apologizes. Sorry. So sorry. Michael Irvin. If we got time, we'll talk about the Michael Irvin video where it don't look good for the Marriott. March Madness. Virginia. Once again, it's March Sadness. How many ways can you blow it? Let me count the ways. Arizona Wildcats. Say no more. The Tiger was greater. Princeton, that is. 15 seed takes out Arizona, the number 2 seed in Pac-12 tournament champions. This and more. Sports Bucks with Steve. We thank all our sponsors, Big Wealth Partners. Go check them out online. BigWealthPartners.com. Ford Insurance Group. Nationwide healthcare is available. You're a small business owner and an entrepreneur, and you're in the United States of America, we can help you out. FordInsuranceGroup.com. My Virtual Docs, RX Heroes, and so many others. We thank you guys for sponsoring the show. This is Sports Bucks. Listen, let's get right into it. Morant is sorry. Morant has taken full responsibility for his actions after being told, you got to sit down, for a little bit while we figure out what we want to do. And the league has spoken. It's an 8-game suspension. Really, it's 2 because he's already been out on definite leave of absence, taking care of his personal matters and going to seeking therapy and counseling. But Morant is now eligible to come back March 20th against the Dallas Mavericks. So, 8-game suspension, no pay. What has learned? Let's listen to the interview with him and Jalen Rose, who is a gentleman who came from the Fabulous Five or Fab Five, University of Michigan fame back in the early 90s. Jalen Rose sat down with him because he went through some similar things in his life before he had to turn it around and now have one of the greatest hairlines in the history of television. Everybody says my hairline is pretty good too. I don't know. But Jalen Rose has a great hairline. He's king hairline. So let's take a look at this interview between Jalen Rose and Morant.
Here on Sports Center.
You're 23 years old. You're a superstar. You're one of the faces of the NBA. What has the last 10 or 11 days been like for you, and how are you doing?
Me personally, I feel mentally good that I haven't, been in, many years. I'm in a space where I'm, very comfortable. I was constantly, talking to therapists. I've been doing, Reiki treatment. I've been doing anxiety breathing, different stuff to, help me manage that and, release, all that stuff from my body.
When did you say, I'm going to do this and it's necessary?
After I made a, terrible mistake, being inside a club and, went live. I put myself in, a bad position. And also it's, my daughter. There's times where she even tell me if she's, had a bad day. And I feel like, if she can tell me that, then, I can be able to go and talk to somebody as well.
You at the spot, Shotgun Willie's. You are holding a gun. And we both know how dangerous that can be. Whose gun were you holding?
Well, the gun wasn't mine. It's not who I am. I don't condone any type of violence, but I take full responsibility for my actions. Made a bad mistake, and I can see the image that I painted over myself with my recent mistakes. But in the future, I'm gonna show everybody who John really is, what I'm about, and change this narrative.
John has missed the Grizzlies' last 5 games, all of which will count towards his suspension, meaning that he's eligible to return on Monday when Memphis hosts Dallas.
When Memphis hosts Dallas, as I stated before, Ja Morant will be back in the building in Memphis, Tennessee, at the Grindhouse. Is really what it is. Memphis, shout out to Memphis and the city of Memphis, all the things they got going on. And so Ja Morant, man, we're here to support you. We're here to not tear you down. We want to bring you up. And because we're seeing enough people get torn down and through accusations. And so an elder statesman in the industry who's an NBA or NFL Hall of Famer has come out. Obviously that we all know he's lost some of his duties with the NFL Network. We haven't seen him on ESPN. Michael Irvin, the playmaker, Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players in Cowboy history and the history of the NFL, who's had his own set of demons. But in this situation, Marriott and your employee, it doesn't look good when you watch the video. And I want to share with you guys a video right now where his attorney is going over the details of the video. And like I said, again, it just doesn't look good. Let me see if I can find it. It's always one of these things where I'm looking for something that all of a sudden you can't find it, but I believe I've got it. So take a look at this video and what his attorney is going over in the video.
Hold on 1 second. We've been going for a while. We're having a lot of conversation. As Marriott released in their statement, they said basically, he said one word to her, an offensive, vulgar thing that he did not say. It's clear from the video and from these witnesses. They have a very lengthy conversation and no one's trying to tell us what that is. Go ahead. That's where she tells some kind of joke, I believe, to him. He's seen kind of bend over. She's shaking her head back and forth like that. He walked in closer to her. She didn't back up at all. Now they're shaking hands. Now, I want you to watch the end interaction here. So she's going to kind of, when the people come up, she'll kick her leg. As she walks off, she's still talking to Michael over the shoulder, all friendly. Here you go. Kicks her leg. See right here, she's gonna look back over her shoulder and say to Michael, now pause it. Okay. They claim he was leering at her. When he looks back at the bar, she's way gone. Because you're about to watch, she's gonna go over here, and that guy is gonna get very visibly upset with her. And basically, there's somebody who's, I don't want to use the word abusive, but there's somebody who's really being forward to her. It's this gentleman here. It wasn't Michael. So watch what happens. Okay, go ahead and roll the tape. See him grab her, and she falls, now pause it. Now Michael's looking over there for the first time. He's not watching her. He's talking to these guys. You'll see in a second, they turn around and they start talking to him. The guy in the white hat. Okay, go ahead. See? Now Michael walks out to go take a selfie with this, we believe, Renaissance employee, 99% sure. And the security guy stays right there with him, who's been around for the whole conversation around.
As you can see, the attorney is showing the video that the Marriott didn't want to release. Now, there's a reason why they didn't want to release it. And we're seeing the reasons why it looks like they didn't want to release it. So I'm going to take a YouTube break, so to speak, and we want to share a video, a financial tidbit, and it's something to think about if you have parents or you're old enough and you want to start looking at moving your money in retirement, and you're in the U.S., of course. I appreciate all the folks that are watching internationally. But this is something to consider, and we can help you with that at Ford and at Fig Wealth, I should say.
Asked you to watch this.
This is what we do. So take a listen to this.
You know the 2 rules of Warren Buffett's investment success? One of the most successful investors of all time. Rule number 1, never lose money. And rule number 2, never forget rule number 1. So ask yourself this: is my retirement money safe? Is it protected? Is it guaranteed? If not, can I afford to lose some of it? Because according to the S&P 500 stock index, if your savings are invested in equities, 10 years of market gains can be wiped out in as little as 10 weeks of market losses, like the 43% loss between 2000 and 2002, the 37% lost in 2008, or the 4% lost in 2018, and the 10% lost in 2020. What's more, it can often take several years for the market to recover from those losses. For example, if the market loses 40% of its value as it did between 2000 and 2002, we would need to earn at least an 8% compound annual rate of return for each of the next 7 years, net of any fees, commissions, taxes, or expenses, just to recover our losses and get even again. That's more than 8% for 7 years in a row, just to earn back what we lost. Which means that we also lose 7 years of compounded growth on our pre-crash savings. That is why avoiding market losses like those can make such a big difference in our retirement savings, and why Warren Buffett is so adamant about never losing money. So how can we grow and protect our savings without the risk of losing any of our money? With a retirement savings contract that guarantees to credit our money with an interest rate based only on the growth of an external market index like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, or the Dow Jones Industrials, but without actually investing our money in the market, without the risk of any market losses, and without current taxation on any of the growth. That's because these contracts only use a market index to determine the interest rate credited to our money. So when the index increases or gains value over a period of time specified in the contract, an interest rate as a percentage of those gains is credited to our contract value. But when the index decreases or loses value, zero interest is credited to our money, and those losses are never deducted, which means that both our principal and our earnings are contractually preserved, secured, and protected. However, there is a maximum limit of rate restriction on how much interest as a percentage of the index gains can be credited within the contract. So you don't get all of the index gains, but you don't get any of the index losses. And because these are retirement contracts, they are meant for long-term savings and income payouts, not for short-term or temporary deposits. So we may only withdraw up to 10% of our contract value each year. And if we withdraw more than 10%, we could be charged a penalty of up to 15% on the excess withdrawal. What's more, if we withdraw the money before age 60, the IRS will also charge a 10% tax penalty on the interest earnings. So what are these retirement contracts? They're called indexed annuities. And they are not investments, they are insurance contracts guaranteed by legal reserve insurance companies that are required to maintain capital reserves equal to all of their contractual guarantees, which will assure you of compliance with Warren Buffett's fundamental rule to never lose money.
Never lose money. Warren Buffett has this rule, and it's a rule you should stick to and adhere by. Now, as time permits, we want to go a little bit into what we call Ball So Hard. And this time it's college basketball, and March Madness is at the top of this show and in this segment. Ball So Hard.
Ball so hard, got a pro clock, rollies and don't tick tock. Ball so hard, got a pro clock, rollies and don't tick tock. Ball so hard, got a pro clock, rollies and don't tick tock. Ball so hard, got a pro clock, rollies and don't tick tock. Ball so hard, got a pro clock, rollies and don't tick tock.
Ball so hard, I got a Rolex, as Jay-Z says. I got something in there. Breitling, I think is what they call it. Breitling, and a bunch of Invicta watches. So I kind of like to collect some watches. But as you watch the clock, as you look at what's going on, time is ticking also on NFL free agency and on March Madness. March Madness, or AKA March Sadness, for the higher seed. And once again, down goes Frazier. Virginia bites the dust. It is knocked out by a low seed once again. This time, courtesy of Fordham and the Palladians. Shout out to Furman University, as they upset the Virginia Cavaliers of the ACC 68-67, one of the big shockers of March Madness. But wait, it gets worse. Down goes the Wildcats. Arizona Wildcats go down to defeat by the mighty Princeton Ivy League Tigers. Shout out to Princeton, getting it done and taking down the Arizona Wildcats in another big shocker. So this is, as you've been watching and paying attention to the tournament, this is what we've got. We've now watched another big seed, and as I'm looking at some of the highlights and things that's going on, this show is being taped. Obviously, we're now recording a show on Thursday to kind of get ready for the weekend. But as you look at some of these scores, earlier games, as you look at this right now, a lot of things is happening. Furman, as we said, has already won and advanced, and as they say, survive and advance. If you look at some of these games, this is what's going on right now in the men's tournament, and it's just a big opportunity for some of these teams. Missouri, the favorites have the ultimate favorites. Alabama has gone on with a very comfortable win over Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. San Diego State, a lot of people had Charleston beating them. San Diego State has gone on. Arkansas got it done against Illinois by double digits. And so these are some of the matchups. Now, Arkansas is very dangerous. Watch out for them and the game that they have in the next round. That's a dangerous game. And if I look at my bracket, Arkansas will take on Kansas. That's a sneaky good game. And I would not be surprised with the leadership that Arkansas has that they may be able to upset Kansas. So just keep an eye on that one. But that's the March Madness. Now, as I promised you guys, I want to go into, as we get ready to take this thing on out of here in a few minutes, NFL free agency. Rod, Aaron, that bad man, Rodgers, who hasn't been that bad lately. He's been on the other side of not being that great. Has trying to take his talents to, can you say Jets? Jets? Well, there's a holdup. Green Bay is in a position where, hey, man, we can wait. We can wait this thing out. We can wait at least until September when he's due that $58 million bonus or extension or guaranteed contract, which I know they don't want to pay him. Or they are looking, and apparently there's been a lot of false advertisement and false reports on Aaron Rodgers stating that he'd had demands for names and all these other things. And so you'll hear the interview where Aaron Rodgers is kind of emphatic about how ridiculous that is, that he didn't actually do that. When I first heard, I thought it was crazy. Like, how is he going around demanding all this stuff? Like, man, just go on and move on. But this is Aaron Rodgers, Rod, courtesy of Pat McAfee show, which him and Pat McAfee seem to have a really, really good relationship. But Aaron Rodgers is discussing the Green Bay situation and where he wants to go. So let's take a listen to Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show.
So I shifted my focus to entertaining, what the plane would look like, and had the Packers granted obviously permission for the Jets to come out and visit. We had a nice visit. They decided to leave their cars on the street, which attracted paparazzi attention, which got a few of them photographed, which I thought was pretty funny. But
had a couple of mistakes early.
But we had a nice conversation, and I told them, listen, I'm not ready to make a decision about anything. I want to get back into my workouts and see how it feels. To really hit it hard for a week. I've obviously been working out before that, but to really hit it hard for a week and to see if the drive and the passion is still there, and then I'll see where we're at. And so, again, this is why this is not a decision here. The decision, I think, was made in my mind whether or not I was able to admit at that point, really on that Tuesday, I wanted to play. And then it was, how is my body feeling? Is it going to be able to hold up? So at this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Okay.
And I haven't been holding anything up at this point. It's been compensation that the Packers are trying to get for me and kind of digging their heels in. So I would just, I think it is interesting at this point to step back and look at the whole picture. My side, love and appreciation, gratitude for everything that Green Bay has done for me. So much love and gratitude, and just heart open for the Packer fans and what it meant to be their quarterback. And also the reality of the situation, like it is what it is. The Packers would like to move on. They've let me know that in so many words. They've let other people know that in direct words. And because I still have that fire and I want to play and I would like to play in New York, it's just a matter of, getting that done at this point.
Okay, people in New York are doing this right now. Yeah. People in New York are pumped right now. And I appreciate you laying it all out there. I appreciate you detailing your side of it, why you feel the way you feel. Now, obviously, there's like 400,000 plus people watching. Not everybody will get to hear that. I hope everybody gets a chance to hear why you are in the position that you're in, and also why you chose to come on here today, because there's a lot of drama allegedly being built by you, dragging this out. Is this guy doing this? Because the last we had heard, and although you made your decision on Friday, the last we had heard is you were contemplating still wanting to play, or do you want to play for the Jets, or do you want to play for another team? So you giving your side of it, I think, lets a lot of people that are maybe hating know, like, yo, let's understand that there's a whole nother layer to this, which is how all the insiders have been talking about it.
So all the insiders are talking about it, and what Pat McAfee is kind of alluding to is talking about the Adam Schefters and some of these other folks that's out here, tweeting out or asking questions. And Aaron Rodgers told him I don't know how you got my number, but he told Schefter to lose his number. And Schefter actually confirmed that. I thought that was kind of funny that he would confirm that. But Rod is trying to play for the New York Jets. The Green Bay Packers probably want the first round pick and more. If you're the Jets, do you give up the 13th pick for a future Hall of Famer who may play only there for 1 year? I think Keyshawn Johnson brought that a good point up when he was on for ESPN's First Take. Or do you hope that he plays at least 2 years and he can mentor Zach Wilson, who's he says that Aaron Rodgers is his idol. So we'll see. The money is there. This is Sports Buck, so of course we talk about the money. Aaron may take less money possibly to play for the Jets, so he can bring on help clear some available cap space or whatever, so he can bring on some of his friends. I know he's good friends with Randall Cobb, and we know that Alan Lazard just got offered a deal for the Jets, I believe, for about $11 million a season. And the big tight end who's played in the NFL for a long time, his name escapes me right now, Mackenzie Lewis, I believe, or Mercedes Lewis, wants to join potentially. But Aaron Rodgers is saying emphatically that he is not making demands. He said he was asked about who he likes or who players is out there, and he made comments about some of his guys, and they asked him about Odell Beckham, and he's like, of course, who would want to play with Odell Beckham Jr.? So this is not him making demands. This is more about people asking him questions. So we understand today's media is really different from the past. They create stories where there's no story. There's always I need to be first to report something, and sometimes that doesn't always give the right story or the right answers. But we here on Sports Bucks, we want to continue to entertain you. Hopefully you've been entertained, and we appreciate all the people that's subscribing to the show. Don't forget to go and like our Facebook page, Sports Bucks with Steve on Facebook. You can also please follow me. We're building a nice Instagram following. We're almost over 9,000 people now, and that's been steadily building. We appreciate all the folks that have been coming on and supporting us. Shout out to all the folks out there listening that watch the show, the Coven Cloud and the Cloud family. Shout out to Leslie Ware, who's a new person now coming on. My man Love, who's on the show, Jersey Gene, and so many other people. My boy Cedric Brown for liking the show, Russell, my cousin, and so many other people that have supported and want to support, continue to support the show. And so many of you guys that are listening right now that subscribe to the page. I don't have all of the people's names in front of me, but I want to appreciate you guys for subscribing. Tell a friend. We're going to keep doing this as long as we have breath and as long as you'll have us. And we want to thank you once again. But as you know, every superhero needs its own theme song. We want to thank all of our sponsors that support our radio show, which you can hear every Saturday on KCAA radio and on all the major podcasts. That's a different show than what we do here, folks. So you want to listen to that. It's a little bit longer, goes into different categories. For the love of the game, love of money, or the love of the game. We had that on our segment. We featured Damian Lillard. So we just want to make sure you take a listen to that show. That comes on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. And so we just want to, again, appreciate all the folks that's listening. Big Wealth Partners, that was the first that they sponsor Coach's Corner. Check us out online, Big Wealth Partners. This is Steve Crawford, the retirement wealth coach, certified financial fiduciary, Hall of Fame member with Pembroke Pines Optimist Organization, best-selling author, and most importantly, husband, father, man of God. And we appreciate all of you guys for listening. This is Sports Bucks with Steve. And I'll see you next week. Or we'll bring on Cowboys Check-In. We're going to have Jersey Gene and my man Love back on the show. See y'all. Stay safe. Enjoy the weekend.